Good morning from the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. This morning, the battle for Kibera is shaping up in the run-up to that November 7th by-election. Imran Okoth, brother to the late immediate former Kibera Member of Parliament, Ken Okoth, has bagged the ODM ticket for the mini-poll in yesterday's nomination. He beat 9 other aspirants, and he's seen as a front-runner already as he prepares to take on the likes of MacDonald Mariga of Jubilee, ANC's Eliud Owalo, and Hamisi Butichi of Ford Kenya. Staying in the capital, a major crisis is looming in Nairobi following a probe into Governor Mike Sonko. Now, if the precedent set on his Kiambu counterpart, Ferdinand Waititu, comes to pass, who would be in charge of the capital city county? Sonko has been without a deputy governor for 19 months. Article 182 of the Kenyan Constitution says that the Speaker of the County Assembly will take over. But Speaker Beatrice Elachi was ousted in 2018, and despite being reinstated by the courts, she's yet to preside over the Nairobi County Assembly. Politics of the Mau is not going anywhere anytime soon, and the government insists that people living in the disputed area must move out. They insist they have genuine title deeds, and there are 3 cases in court in Kitale, Nakuru, and Narok. I'm just back from the hotly contested Masai Mau. I went specifically to see that famous cut line the state and residents there are fighting over. And former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe has died aged 95. Zimbabweans and Africans in general are divided in mourning him. His liberator credentials seem to have been blemished by an iron-fist rule. So was Mugabe a liberator or a tyrant? I am Ben Kitili, live from the KTN News Center in Nairobi, and this is Inside Politics. Stay with us for the next 120 minutes as we dissect the biggest political and policy issues in the country and on the continent. Let's get right into it. Imran Bernard Okoth will be ODM's flag bearer in the November 7th Kibera by-election after defeating 9 other aspirants in yesterday's ODM primaries. Okoth, popularly known as Imran, secured 4,382 votes ahead of the runners-up Peter Orero, who garnered 1,218 votes. Okoth is now set to face off with Jubilee's MacDonald Mariga and sees Eliud Owalo and Ford Kenya's engineer Hamisi Butichi in that mini-poll.
For the Orange Democratic Movement Party, that will happen on the 7th of November 2019, as 4,382 votes.
To my team, thank you for the great work. And thank you for believing in me. To the great people of Kibera, the battle is ahead of us on the 7th of November, 2019. We must keep the legacy of the late Honorable Ken Okoth alive.
Ninawashukuru sana kwa kuweka hadhi ya chama chenu ambacho tunakienzi, kwa kushiriki uchaguzi ambao umekuwa ni wa huru na haki, ambao umekuwa ni uchaguzi wa amani. Mheshimiwa Imran, mimi na kukongratulate kwa ushindi ambao umepata kwa sasa. Ongea na wenzako ambao mlikuwa nao katika kinyang'anyiro, wakaribishe katika timu yako. Tunataka tusonge mbele kama jamii moja, na tuwe na kampeni ambayo inaweza kurudisha hadhi ya wanakibra, kwa sababu nyinyi wenyewe mlisema mungependa mchague kiongozi nyinyi wenyewe.
Bringing all the party, all the candidates that put themselves forward, all of them by coming and becoming candidates under ODM and getting the ticket, that was quite a task in itself. And we congratulate all of them for participating. But now we have a winner. They have dispute mechanisms. They can go for that, as the SG has said. But when we've already finalized that our candidate is Imran or whoever, because if we have a dispute mechanism that the tribunal will listen to, whichever way we go as a party, ODM has to ensure that this seat remains with ODM.
National Election Board is mandated to conduct interviews as one of the methods of nominating our candidates to compete for this seat on the Jubilee Party ticket. On the 2nd of September, which is today, my board and I met 16 candidates, conducted in-depth interviews with all 16 of them, and these interviews were conducted with a view to understanding the vision and aspirations of each and every one of these candidates for the great people of Kibera. The NEB also sought to establish each candidate's clarity of alignment with the Jubilee Party manifesto and to assess their ability to facilitate delivery of the mandate of the party, not only in Kibera, but also on the national stage, as the role of a member of parliament is a national role and not just a constituency role. I'm pleased to announce that the above processes have yielded for the Jubilee Party a candidate of impeccable character and credentials, a candidate who has enduring connections with the people of Kibera, as he hails from Karanja, a neighborhood within the constituency, and most importantly, a candidate who has demonstrated energy, passion, and zeal, not only to lead by example, with humility, but also to deliver a timeless and transformative agenda for the people of Kibera. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and privilege to present to you MacDonald Mariga Wanyama as the Jubilee Party candidate for the upcoming by-election for Kibera constituency.
The Jubilee Party earlier in the week unveiling their candidate. ANC were the first to unveil theirs, Eliud Owalo, and of course Ford Kenya. Our candidate is Hamisi Butichi, engineer, and ODM was the last to do its primaries. And Imran Bernardo Koth, the brother to the late Ken Okoth, will be flying the ODM party flag in that November 7th by-election. My gang is here with me to analyze this for us very quickly. I have with me Dismas Moko, as always, political risk analyst, communication strategist Mark Bichachi, Hezbon Owila, political analyst and political strategist Kipchumba Karori. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Dismas, to overuse that cliche, somebody or the people of Kibera stopped reggae. Chris Darling, Kingston Odhiambo did not get the party ticket. But what is your view now of this race in Kibera?
Well, I'm not familiar with reggae, so I don't know whether reggae was stopped. But what I know is that for the longest time, majority of Kenyans have requested Raila Odinga to let the party primaries have a semblance of some sort of clarity to be free and fair for the people. And from the reactions yesterday, it seems that Raila did not make an attempt to force his own preferred candidate, that the people were in fact given the opportunity to make their voice known. So that Imran Khan has been given that opportunity. He now then goes to the next level to make his value proposition, so that he meets with Eliud Owalo of ANC and MacDonald Mariga, that, the gentleman on my left doesn't have very kind words for Mariga. But now the people in Kibera will be given the opportunity. They look at Mariga, they look at Owalo, they look at Imran Khan, and from those three people, find out who is the best place.
What's your crystal ball telling you?
Well, when you're talking about Kibera and then you look at a crystal ball, probability of getting it wrong is almost 100%. Because, yesterday we'd been told that the ODM primaries are going to be anchored on violence, people are going to throw punches, but it ended up in a peaceful manner. But the only thing we'd like to request is to ask Ruto, Raila, and Salem Davadi not to take their proxy wars to Kibera, to let the people of Kibera take a decision. They look at Eliud Owalo, they look at Mariga and Khan, and take a decision.
Mark, what is your view of the Kibera race?
It's Imran Okoth. He keeps saying Khan. It's very interesting.
Oh, my apologies.
Very interesting. There's a Khan.
So my mind was in Pakistan. I'm afraid for that. My apologies.
No, it's okay. I think one of the key things that Dismas has pointed out that it's very key I think for me, it's not the proxy wars of individuals. It's a proxy wars of tribe that should stay out of Kibera. I think the people of Kibera are one of the few constituencies in these countries which have enjoyed the fruit of having a member of parliament that actually delivers. I am personally delighted that reggae has stopped. I am so happy that no one will be catching bullets for Baba instead of the people of Kibera. So I'm very happy about that. And I'm also happy that Imran Okoth is going to run on the basis of what he did when he was at the CDF committee for Kibera. That, I think, is a critical question that the people of Kibera have to ask. This is someone who has a track record. This is someone who has delivered versus name recognition and probably the benefits of betting in Kibera. You know, maybe that's what they're going to discuss. For me, what the key thing is, I hope that it will not be a party election. I hope that it will not be a tribal election. I hope it will not be a Raila Ruto Mudavadi election. I hope it will be an election about delivery to the people of Kibera and putting Kibera first.
All right.
But Ben, Ben, we shouldn't allow Mariga really to rubbish Mariga's, or rather, for him to rubbish Mariga's candidature. I mean, he's an international soccer player. He decided to endorse a product. What's wrong? If the people of Kibera decide that they want to be associated with somebody who has endorsed betting and is an international soccer player, what is the big deal?
He's bringing his own proxy wars.
No, I said, I hope. It is a very personal hope.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Hesbon. Kibera is an ODM seat. In this, that area has been an ODM zone for several election cycles now. There is all talk of the Luo vote, the Nubian vote, and all that. So Mark hopes that will not be a factor to consider. What do you think is going to happen? Is ODM going to retain that seat?
Well, I think it's difficult to say whether ODM is going to retain it, but I think ODM is definitely the front runner. The manner in which they've conducted their primaries basically tells you that this has nothing to do with the brand name that you've seen in the other political parties, but the people of Kibera have actually given that ticket to Imran because of what he's done as an ODM member and what he did as the CDF manager, which, of course, you'd agree with that when you're in touch with the people on the ground, there's a high likelihood that they will reward you for what you've done. But then I think politics in Kenya has been centered around tribal mobilization. And what we are seeing in ANC and Jubilee is a move from tribal mobilization to brand name and name recognition, which is underpinned by tribal politics. Because if you look at the calculations that Jubilee is doing, they want to lock the Luhya votes through a Luhya candidate, and then they want to use the Jubilee name to attract the other tribes that are not Luo, which probably makes sense because that is the game of politics, that you're looking for numbers. But I'm not so sure that it's going to be easy for Jubilee in the manner in which they did their nominations. And I think the brand recognition of having Eliud Owalo as a candidate for ANC is also something that they essentially want to eat into the ODM blocking vote, which may not work for them.
Kipchumba, what is your take on what's going to happen or what's happening in Kibera? Very quickly.
There are several things that have taken place since the onset when the speaker issued the writs for the vacancy of the seat of Kibera. One of it being that for once we have seen the handshake taking a peripheral role so that it allows the country to continue with the democratization process, and it allows the political parties to continue with the discourse of making sure that the principle that each political party uniquely stands for. The other thing also that you must give it to the ODM is by making sure that the D in the name is functional. Finally, it worked in Kibera. Something like that worked in Kibera yesterday. And then again, the party did its level best to make sure that there was no violence. You must give it to them.
The so-called name recognition, should Mariga be worried of what happened to DJ Chris Darling?
I think, first of all, to react to Bichachi, tall trees have no grudge with the dwarfs. in the forests. Short trees and tall trees have no problem.
Whatever
So
that
we
means.
cannot begrudge Mariga for having a big name. Two, what we must now ask Mariga is, what are you offering for the people of Kibera? Because there is something that we are trying to assume also in this panel.
All right.
Although Ken Okoth, may his soul rest in peace, was a wonderful legislator, when I realized that he had given his brother to be the CDF manager, it got me thinking of the levels of nepotism in this country. Because Kibera has very many ethnic groups. You mean it was only Okoth's brother who could learn CDF? That's a question I've been asking myself. I'm not a voter in that region, but it says something. But going back to the election,
Who appoints a manager of the CDF? Is it the member of parliament?
That's a discussion for another forum.
All right, we need to end it there.
Ben,
What do you think is going to happen? Who's going to win this?
What-
ODM is going to retain it?
First of all, the seat is ODM's to lose. Secondly, as I have always said, Kibera will be discussed as number 4 in the item of discussion. Number 1 will be Punguza Muzigo versus BBI. They'll have to just put up with that discussion. Number 2 will be the supremacy battle between William Ruto and Raila Odinga.
The proxy wars will take precedence.
Number 3 will be the handshake and the people who are anti-handshake. And then number 4, the people of Kibera will rank.
All right. We'll be covering this for you, the November 7th Kibera by-election. The battle lines drawn there, we shall be seeking to get the candidates in